Welcome back to Jenkins Boat Works. I am Chuck Jenkins, and this is the 100th episode of Building the Haven. The Haven 12.5, of course, is the Joel White design of Nat Hershoff's original H12. We've been working on this for almost 3.5 years, and quite honestly, we're getting close to being done. And it's hard for me to believe it's been that long, and it's hard for me to believe that we've got 100 episodes, but throughout this whole time, my purpose has been to do a detailed documentary of each little job that goes into it, and I feel like we've accomplished that. We are getting a fair amount of support and comments from people that are appreciating the detail and are actually starting to take on new builds or fixed boats. I do have a friend named Shep that has been running neck and neck with me. He's on the East Coast and has been building a Haven. He just launched it this weekend. So he beat me to the water, but congratulations to him. And in this episode, I am now getting around finally to trying to steam bend and put in the coaming. This is a job that is not easy, and I have quite honestly been putting off a little bit. My boat building slows down considerably in the summer. I have a lot of other things going on, but anyway, we had some success last night, so let's jump in.
Father's Day. My boat building has slowed down just because of summer. Like, see, there's my new weed eater. All right, I've been putting this off, and it's time to steam this coaming. I did not make a mold. I'm gonna try to just bend it right into the carlin, right into the shear clamp over here, and try to clamp it in there. I've had this piece cut out. I'm doing it in 2 pieces per side. So here's the first one, and that's to go on starboard. Now I've traced it out on some poster board, and I'm thinking that the port side should be pretty close to the same. But once I get that cut out, I'll play with it on this side while we're waiting for this mahogany to steam. Mahogany is about a 1/2 inch thick. I don't think it's going to take it a real long time. Probably maybe I'm going to give it maybe 45 minutes, and I'm going to steam it in the bag like we did when we were doing the mast hoops. So we'll get started, and we'll do some more video once we get going. This is the high temperature bagging that I get from ACP Composites, and then we're putting the wood in there. Okay, so this bag is a tube, and it is cut, and it is wrapped up on its ends. The steam tube is in there. There's the wallpaper steamer. It's full of water. We're ready to plug it in and start making steam. What I've learned doing this is that if you take a little thin piece of wood, in this case I got a little piece of white oak up there, and I just rolled the bag around that oak about 3 times and then clamped it, you can get a pretty tight seal. So here's our mahogany, and we're going to plug it in and start making some steam. I've got it kind of elevated, a little bit of an angle going up. So the idea is it may start bending on its own a little bit, except that would be, yeah, that'd be the right way. So if it starts bending down, that's the way that we want it to go for the starboard side. Okay, here we go. And that's what it sounds like when it first starts steaming. Watch the bag inflate. I came in here and I was like, I didn't hear anything, and then I touched the little boiler. It's hot. Starting to see some steam inside there. It'll inflate that whole bag.
All right, so while I've been waiting for this to gather steam, I was working on getting clamps together to go, because I'm going to clamp it in against that curved carlin there. And I found out that my regular clamps, the one end of them won't quite fit back up underneath the shear clamp, but those little handheld clamps will. I think they're just barely open up wide enough to where I can get those at least on that end. Once I get into the curve, maybe 2 ribs past the chain plate there, then I should be able to start getting the other clamps in there. Now the other thing that I've done is I've fashioned a little post here that I hope to be able to pull against for the front of this. I've still got a little X right there where those 2 screws are, and that's where the post eventually is supposed to sit. So the steamed coaming is supposed to come from around that curved carlin and then up to this point right here. So what I'm in hopes of is that I'll be able to take a clamp and pull from the front side of the coaming that's coming up like this, pull back against this post right here. And I got a little bit creative. I think of these things in my sleep, like, how am I gonna clamp that? How am I gonna be able to pull that? How can I get pressure against it? So what I did was I took a 2x4, that's just a little piece of oak against the centerboard trunk that was holding up that 2x4, and quite honestly I could probably take that out of there, but it's not hurting anything being in there. And so I cut out a little notch in the 2x4, and then I've got it clamped through the hatches, and then that thing's really solid. So hopefully we can clamp against that. All right, I'm gonna let that thing steam. Yeah, see it's starting to fill up. I'm gonna let that steam for about 40 minutes, and then we'll see if we can bend it in. They're in here. Yeah, they're right here in the back of the boat. Yeah, that doesn't feel like that's gonna bend.
It's a long way to go.
We're gonna try it. See if we can get it in there. Okay. She's bending a little bit. Man, that steam's warm.
I think you need to get the boat.
Man, maybe put this back in there. It just doesn't feel like it's
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's
go.
ready.
I surely don't want to break it. This will be a better way to get it.
Do you want me to come over there?
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay. Don't break it.
I know, right? Oh my.
But it didn't break. Your board did not break.
Oh jeez. How the hell do they do this?
You need more time in the steamer.
So that did not go as planned. I'm a little frustrated, but sometimes these little setbacks actually make for a bigger reward when you get it. But I don't know if I can get it steamed enough. It was, I pushed on it in the bag just to see if it was kind of limber or not, and it didn't really bend as much as I thought it should. And when I pulled it out, it still seemed very stiff. But I thought, well, might as well try to bend it, see, you know. Been in there for 45 minutes. We might have a little crack in the board. It's back in the steamer, it's back in the bag. So I'm gonna give it an hour or so and then we'll take another crack at it. I didn't have my clamp set up the way I should have. That's my fault, I know better. I found 2 other bigger clamps, so maybe that'll help. I don't know, we may have to make a jig for it. Quite honestly, that's how they say to do it, rather than trying to steam it in here. It just didn't feel pliable though. It did not feel pliable. Even as soon as I took it out of the bag, it didn't feel like it was limber enough. So you saw it go sprawling. Frustrating. So I thought I was videoing and we got none of it. But we got it in. We got it in. It's not perfect, but we got the bend. Look at that. I had that in the steam bag for an hour and a half, and that's after it steamed for 45 minutes the first time. I'm pretty happy with it. There's a little bit of gap in there, but I think we'll just put, well, first of all, that gap, that all has to slide forward. We got to get, I'm off 2 inches, but at the moment all I care about is the fact that we bent it. I think once it sits there for a day or so, I should be able to pull it off and move it, and then we should be able to rebend it. Plus, I was probably going to need to do a little bit of fairing on the bottom, a little bit of angling on the bottom to get it to sit in there. Holy smoke. My little plan here with this front of this worked good. I've got 2 clamps, and the result of that is that I'm able to control the flare. So in other words, it sticks further out up at the top as it is supposed to. And then if I didn't think it was sticking out enough, then I would clamp on that top clamp or pull on the bottom one and pull the bottom in. So we've got a really nice shape there. I'm so sorry we didn't get the video of it going in. It was hectic. The wood was very hot. The weather outside is very hot. It's very humid. But wow, look at that. All right. Fitting for the 100th episode, maybe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. If you liked the video, remember to like and subscribe. Also look for Jenkins Boat Works on Facebook.